All right. Mic check. 1, 2. Are we good? We good over here? We good over there? Well, over there. What's good, y'all? Peace. What's happening? It's your man, SoulMan IT. Welcome and welcome back to the channel and to the show, SoulMan IT podcast. I almost said keep the beat going because I just did. I just did the beat making live stream earlier today. Today is Sunday for those of you who don't know and wasn't there at the live stream. This is not the first episode of this podcast. I've done other episodes. It's been very spotty, but there have been like different versions of it. I've just referred to it as seasons at this point, for the sense of just growth. When I did the podcast, I think it was like I started it around COVID time, maybe before COVID or leading into COVID. But I remember doing when I was working at Casa Brazil. Shout out to the Casa Brazil team. When I was working there in the kitchen, I was doing like intro and my own little commercial ads and stuff that I would use to put on social media and all that stuff like that. But anyway, I would do the podcast then. And I struggled with a format. Like I didn't know what I want to talk about. Like there are I can talk about mad different things, yo. And that's the thing with this. Like everybody want to do a podcast because it's the hot thing to do. And there was a time where no one wanted to do a podcast. If you told people you were going to do a podcast, they would laugh at you the same way if you said you want to be a rapper, a singer, musician, artist, any of the cool creative stuff, really. But there was a time where no one wanted to do a podcast. But either way, whether you do a radio broadcast, a podcast, any kind of serial show, there's got to be a theme. It's some kind of overarching theme and reason for why you talk to the people, so they got a reason to listen to you, right? So I went to school for communication. I didn't go to school just for that, but I went to school for communication initially. My parents come from broadcasting. That's where they met, was my dad's radio station. And I don't know. I mean, it's in my blood. And the more I started doing my own music, I was like, I should learn media and broadcasting so I can have some way of understanding the larger game that's at play. And even then, people was just like saying you bugging. Even if you seeing, how all the strings and dots connect, But yeah, I wanted to do a podcast and just have a place where I could have unedited conversation. I don't want to say unfiltered, because like you do want to have a filter or some sense of discernment, right? But what's different about this versus like the vlogs is this is like an actual conversation. This is not chopped up for people's attention spans because they're short. It's just like any other talk show, pretty much. And I think part of the difficulty too was like having to wrap my head around, oh, you have a talk show now. Like you have a talk show. You're talking to people. So I don't want to get, too carried away. I want there to be like a casual element to this. But also like, not serious, but intentional, But just a spot where we can come kick it. We can have this conversations about different things. I got my notebook here in front of me. I got the mothership right here. I got I don't have a name for the streaming computer, but the streaming computer's right here to my left. Got 4 monitors going. So we got a setup. We got a setup, y'all. When I first started doing the podcast, we didn't really have too much of a setup. We was working off of a laptop that couldn't handle it. Got it for $100 over at the Goodwill around the way. You don't find scores like that anymore. Let me tell you, man. Shout out to the resellers in the flea market crowd. Excuse me. man. You do not see scores like that anymore. But yeah, what was I just talking about? I'm gonna lose my train of thought at times too, y'all. So I do apologize. Um, Goodwill, laptop. Oh, yeah. Uh, I was recording the podcast off of old laptop for $100. Got a grant. Shout out to Act Three Consulting. Shout out to y'all. Um, got a grant through them back in 2022 for the year of 2023. Upgraded the laptop, but like it wasn't until last year, 2025, y'all, that I've been on that I started working on a desktop. Um, Ever since before then, making the albums, editing videos, editing anything, doing anything creative, all that was done off of laptops. Um, so yeah, we've come a long way. All praise to the most high. Um, and we're gonna keep trying to push forward and up for 2026. Yeah, so on my notebook, basically how I got the breakdown of the show. Um, we got the opening segments, first half of the show, second half of the show, and then closing segments. I don't want to get too crazy with it. I just wanted to do it where uh, I can consistently do this weekly in this kind of a format, something that y'all can be able to expect. You expect consistency and things you can rely on. I didn't want to have like specific topics, like categories, like we're going to talk about politics all the time here, y'all, or music all the time. Like, no. Um, some weeks it's going to be good for that. Some weeks it's not going to be good for that. But just, I want to have like a conversation. I'm still trying to figure out how to define my audience, like who y'all are, because I think some of the conversations that we can have can vary. And I think that's also been the difficulty in like trying to create a podcast or really just anything. And you're trying to figure out who your audience is. Because in your mind, you're like, I can reach everybody, but this may not be for everybody. Um, and you got to be okay with that, right? Uh, but yeah, I want to, start with like, how are y'all? Happy New Year to y'all. This is the first episode of the new year. First piece of content. Well, second piece of content. I put a video out today earlier, but nonetheless, this is the New Year's, y'all. Like, what are y'all resolutions? What are you trying to do this year, to accomplish this year? Any places y'all want to go, travel to? Anything you want to start? Start a business, start a hobby, start going out, socializing. What are y'all trying to do this year? What's your New Year's resolution? I know for me, I would like to get more funding for not just for me, but for Fresh Air Flavor in particular. There are things that I want to do from an agency standpoint, that if I had more money and to be able to hire people and train people, I'd be able to do bigger and better things, at least for the community here and possibly for the community back home in Binghamton. Um, Stuff along the lines of like media literacy, teaching that. The schools are in a very dire situation. I don't know if it's like what it is for where y'all are at, but here in Pittsburgh, um, resources are low, funding is low, teachers are all over the place, students are all over the place, administration is pulling their hair out and all of that. Um, so at some point, you can't just keep doing what you've been doing. It's going to like take teachers to have to do what they're not used to doing. And uh, in some cases, banding together and forming coalitions, um, different organizations, helping teachers to sustain themselves. Shout out to BTAN. Um, it's going to take a lot. So, this year, I've applied to some grants. Last year, we'll find out in the coming weeks, coming months, if I got those grants. If not, still going to be moving forward with the program and the projects. So that's something I'm looking forward to this year is going out on my own and establishing that. I would like to get my own studio space. I don't know what that would look like, Uh, I know there'd have to be a production studio and just that for like producing, and then like a studio B for podcast or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's really what I'm looking forward to on that side of things. Music wise, looking forward to releasing Tilted. I've been working on that album. It's 2018 around that time. Around the same time I started working on Ramadan and Babylon. Ramadan and Babylon's already out. You can get that on soulmanit.com or Bandcamp. Um, but Tilted, really looking forward to that. That's got a gang of folks on there. Um, got Gallo Lockness. Shout out to my guy. Uh, got Yamin Somali, Selfman 7, Gene Stovall, Darius Rhodes. There's a gang of folks on there. There's a gang of folks on there. But I'm really excited to share that with y'all. I've been working on it really hard, really long. Pause. And just got one more song to do, and then it'll come out, and we're good. Yeah, and speaking of new music, I did re-release Radio Reactive Mind, my EP. Released that in 2024, and then I re-released it last year. I got some new plugins, so I was like, well, hold up. And it's like when you get new plugins for audio, and now all your new stuff sounds like crazy immaculate, and then you go back to your older catalog, and you're like, man, I really wish. And there's no rules with this. Like no one says that you can't re-release any of your older releases, especially at this stage. It's not like I'm on a record label anywhere, or like something that's like at a higher production value, or you know what I mean, like something like that. So there's no rules to that, is what I'm saying. Because sometimes we can bog ourselves down as music artists and not do stuff because we're like, I'm supposed to be at this level before I can do it. And sometimes you can do it now is the main thing. So in saying that, I re-released Radio Reactive Mind. You can now get that on all streaming platforms except for Spotify, because I ain't supporting them thieves. Um, sorry, not sorry. But yeah, you can get it on all streaming platforms, specifically Tidal. That's what I'm using right now. When I switched from Spotify to that, excuse me. Um, so yeah, really, really proud of how that came out and sounded. There's one song on there where I just changed the beat completely from the original release. The original release you can only hear on Bandcamp, SoulMan Bandcamp. Um, that's not available anywhere else. Hence the re-release for it. Because when I wanted to take my stuff off of Spotify, the way I put it up on there through DistroKid, they don't allow you to just remove one piece of music. You have to release the whole thing. So I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. So I just did that. Like you can't release it from one store, meaning like they want you to release it from all stores, and then you got to re-upload it, and then select what stores you want it to be or streaming platforms you want it to be on. So I had to do that, and I was just like, all right, you know what? Let me just fresh, new slate, clean slate. You know what I mean? So let me know what y'all think of that there. Take a listen to it. Link will be down below in the description if you want to take a listen to it. And I encourage you to, and just let your man know what you think. New music, movies, and documentaries I've seen. So I'm going to go to my big screen here. I saw recently Black Phone 2. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the first one, or seen this sequel, Black Phone 2. This joint came out last year, September 20th, 2025. Hold up, that was at Fantastic Fest. And then October 17th, 2025 in the US. So I was late to the party a little bit. But yeah, saw this here, one of my friends. And this, it's interesting. Like I have thoughts on the movie, and then I have thoughts on horror movies and just like how I've seen them affect people I'll say it like that. I don't want to project too much and get ahead of the cart. But yeah, as far as the movie, I thought the first one was better than the second one. Second one's not bad. Uh, it stars Ethan Hawke in both movies, and for those of you who don't know, and I don't want to spoil it, for any of you who do plan on going to see it, uh, now the first one we will talk about the first one, so there might be spoilers with that. But the second one, I don't want to give away, what it is. I'll give you that. But 6 months from now, if we return to this, I might talk about. That's on you. But uh, yeah, the first one I feel like was better. The premise of the first movie is you have this serial kidnapper killer guy, played by Ethan Hawke, who wears this I don't even what is this thing made of? I don't know if it's like a ceramic mask. It's this weird looking, like eyes wide shut ceramic devil mask, right? And he wears that joint, but like he kidnaps the kids in the neighborhood, and then they end up unalived, and basically what the main character of the first movie, he gets kidnapped and he inside this room, and it's just this cot, this bare ass mattress cot, and a black phone on the wall that doesn't work, but it does. So uh on some supernatural stuff, all the other kids who had previously been taken and died can speak to him through this black phone, and they try to get him to be able to break out. And that's the premise of the first movie. The second movie, without spoiling it, uh, he finds a way to come back, right? And the kids are a bit older. It takes place sometime after the first movie, and instead of now being uh, in that room where he was locked up at, now they're at a campgrounds, a youth campgrounds, Christian youth campgrounds, um, in which they have to deal with the serial killer. So that's the premise of the movie, without spoiling it or anything like that, and giving away any of the bits. Um, but yeah, I mean, the second one was cool, and I guess now we can lead to my thoughts more so on horror movies in general. Like, I'm not a big fan of horror movies. Uh, I don't knock people who do watch them. There are certain movies where I'm just like the point of a horror movie is supposed to like scare you, right? Like I would assume like you go to a horror movie to be afraid or get spooked or something, something with fear. I would assume, and usually the storylines that go with those movies are what they are. At some point, just like the whole overly violent and gore aspects of things have taken precedent in horror movies. And for some folks, as a son of a social worker, um, and person who works in psychiatry, psychology, um, you putting those kind of things out there and putting them out in mass, and there's no balance where people can see. I don't know what the opposite of what I'm talking about as far as like the gore, violent horror movies would be. But it's just like, all right, it's just not my, at some point it's not my thing, but you start to see that there's like, you feel like there's some aspect of programming that happens. Um, Not to get too tinfoily hat, but excuse me, we here. So let's get our X Files on. Shout out to Ryan Coogler because he's gonna be directing the new X Files. um, but yeah, like I just what they do with movies and how they push them to people, um, it's just like I just don't like it, and the visuals and the narratives they push with it, and then the marketing that goes behind it. Now we got social media, so you get in marketing. I forget what they said. We see um a crazy amount of ads every single day. It was like in a week it's in the thousands, but in a day it was like it might have been close to 1,000 times on average. You might see an advertisement, which is just bonkers to even think about. But like that's programming in itself. Marketing is programming and propaganda and promotion in a genuine sense. But it's trying to get you to think a certain way about something. Um, so in the basic sense of like a movie, uh, that there's a reason why someone put something together, and that's art too. You interpreting it and you walking away with whatever your feelings and thoughts are on stuff. But I say all that because, like, when it comes to like Freddy Krueger, um, for Nightmare on Elm Street, he's a pedo. Like, and he gets placed up on a pedestal as far as like villains and stuff. Like he gets glorified, basically is what I'm talking about. So for me, I'm always careful of these movies where like there's like a villain, and now you want the villain to take center stage in a way in which it feels like we're rooting for them, especially now that we have like these live action adaptations of different villains that come from like the superhero universe, mixing in with all this stuff. The lines start to get blurred. What I did appreciate about this movie or series so far with Black Phone is that the evil guy is evil straight through. Like he's a villain straight through. There's no question about it. You don't feel bad for this dude. They don't get into his backstory to make you have some sympathy. Like it's just you don't have to care. He's an evil guy. You want to see him die. You want to see him uh, go down at the end. And I appreciated that because again, like I feel like there's some horror movies where it's like at some point they end up having you root for the villain, and they're pulling you in with this psychology, and a lot of times the villains are just like twisted, like and yeah. I got a whole thing. If we still with the tinfoil hat, how that leads to the populist state that we in now, where we're just so like in our echo chambers and and mind controlling ourselves almost in a way to what we want to hear and what we want to see and all that stuff. Um, you get shown that thrown in whatever your feeding algorithm is, it can get dangerous, and we see that. So it's not like I'm bugging or going off the deep end with it. Um, and again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, I want to have conversations about stuff, and it can be continuing conversations. So it's not just like bringing something up for the sake of bringing it up, but like hopefully, you can further different things that are being said, uh, have different opinions, counter opinions, and things on it. So yeah, moving on from that there. New music, movies, and documentaries. Peaky Blinders, y'all. Peaky Blinders is coming out with their movie. Hold up, where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? The Immortal Man. Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, will be coming out this year in theaters March 6th. Hold up. Yes, March 6th in theaters, and then March 20th on Netflix. Um, I remember the director, the director, um, had talked about before that this will be like right around the start of World War II. I don't know if that is gonna be the case. Let me Google this right quick. The Immortal Man. Okay. Premise: Birmingham, 1940. Amidst the chaos of World War II, Tommy Shelby is driven back from a self-imposed exile to face his most destructive reckoning yet. With the future of the family and the country at stake, Tommy must face his own demons and choose whether to confront his legacy or burn it to the ground. Man, when I saw the trailer too, I was like, "Oh snap!" Because it's like a gray-haired Tommy Shelby too. Um, for any of y'all who don't know, I am a Peaky Blinders fan. If you couldn't tell, I've also worn these hats before Peaky Blinders. Just FYI, people don't be like, "Oh, you just took Peaky Blip." Shut up. No, been wearing these hats for a minute. Um, it just so happened the older that I got, uh, and the popularity of the hat with the show like Peaky Blinders, now you can just order these hats by just typing in Peaky Blinders hat. Whereas back then, I didn't know what these hats was called. Paperboy hats. um, or the Kangos. But in particular, back in the day, even here, like a lot of the immigrants, especially, are just cats from the neighborhood, like New York City, Chicago, West Coast. They would wear these hats specifically, um, and hats are a status piece when it comes to the social order of things and things like that. So when you think of the original colonizers, the Brits, right? When they wear like them top hats, the top hats, signify your degrees of status, right? If you wear a hat like this, that means you a common person, you an everyday person. So what I've always appreciated about the show and now the movie is the different hats that he wears, but usually he always rocking something like this here. Um, that shows that like, at the end of the day, he's still common regular folk, even when he walking into them rooms with all them bougie people and power folks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this here, man. Looking forward to this here. March 20th. I wonder where, I don't know if we'll have it showing here in Pittsburgh, but I'm looking forward to this. Yes, sir. Let's see. Uh I saw a video about Chinese flying cars on Al Jazeera. So it's here, y'all. It's here. It's not the Jetsons. It's not the Jetsons, but it is flying cars. Uh, so yeah, some of these here because of copyright stuff, I won't play just so I don't get hit on the channel with it. But I will link these down in the description below if you want to see these for yourself. But yeah, so like basically the description here says commuting by air could become a reality sooner than expected as China advances flying car technology. Chinese firms have begun mass production of electric flying vehicles. Beijing has designated low altitude aircraft as a key emerging industry. The sector is being backed by government policy and regulatory support. Chinese companies are among the first globally to export flying cars. Developers say the technology could transform urban transport. In the video, like was what's crazy is, and I'll put this up here. I'll find a way to put the graphics here on the screen so we'll at least be able to see it. But like this, it's like a little mini shuttle, and it's got at least four propellers on it, six propellers, six rotors on here. Um, and there's a way in which you can pilot this yourself, or you can have this thing with AI drive you. So AI can drive you, or you can do this. Cue in the Will Smith iRobot meme, right? But I mean, this looks more feasible than some of the other things that I've seen out there. Like some stuff just looked like an experiment and fun thing that someone put together. This stuff looks like a serious attempt at, yo, we have the technology. What's some sci-fi stuff that we can do with this that is efficient? Because at least right now, like everyday people aren't using this, and they said it was like 300,000, I think, $300,000 to use this. Um, then there's also like you as a regular person would have to get a license just to use this because if you do take this off of autopilot, you'll have to pilot it yourself. So just like a car, with a car having a license for it, or a plane, you'll have to have a license for this. So that's cool. Um, but yeah, I saw this. This came out December 18th, 2025. The video on Al Jazeera. So take a look when y'all get a second. And all right, that's all I got for my opening segments. That was like the warm up, the soft stuff. We're at the half hour mark. Let's go. Okay, so for the future, that'll be, for my format. For the audience watching that cares about that stuff, yay me. For those who don't, I'm sorry. For the first half of the show, let's get into some of the serious stuff. This is not a news podcast. Again, this is just stuff that might be new to us, since news now is relative, which is wild. The world is all fractured all over the place. But one of the big stories of 2026 so far is Venezuela, y'all. For those of you who do not know what just happened, let me bring up my news report right here. The U.S. military stormed Maduro, the former dictator or leader of Venezuela. They stormed his home at 2:01 local time, 6:01 GMT. Trump said U.S. forces were able to cut the power in the capital, Caracas, but it is unclear how they did this. The U.S. president said Maduro tried to enter the steel fortified safe room and made it past the door but was unable to close it. He was captured by the U.S. Army's Delta Force, the military's top counterterrorism unit, after the CIA source and Venezuelan government helped the U.S. track his location. So part of the people in Venezuela, the government, helped give him up as well. More than 150 aircraft were used to get the extraction team into the capital. Trump added that no U.S. forces were killed and there were few injuries. Maduro and his wife were taken on board the USS Iwo Jima and then a plane, which later landed at Stewart Air National Guard Base in New York State. The pair were then transported to Metropolitan Detention Center, a federal facility in Brooklyn. U.S. officials have indicated that airstrikes around Caracas were used as cover for the extraction operation. Yeah, so basically, Trump sent the U.S. Army in can you say they kidnapped? Is that? I don't even know how you say this, man. Like, I don't even know what you make of the reality and world that we're in right now. Currently in the country at this time, this dude just was just like, yo, we've been talking to this guy for a month. Send him over. And someone on the other line was just like, hey, this is the order. Let's go get him. And they got this guy. Like, and what's wild is, I don't know if it's because of the way this guy looks or if it's because of just how it feels. But this dude, this reminds me of Iraq. This remind me of when Bush was in power and he was like, weapons of mass destruction, yo, right? And then they went over and they got Saddam, or they killed him, right? In this case, they didn't kill him, right? So that's interesting to even think of. Like, if Maduro went the way of Saddam, like, how would the rest of the world react? Because I know Russia, I was watching the news before we started recording, and Russia's not happy. They are not happy at all, according to the report that I was watching. This report that I just read to y'all is from the BBC. Just want to give proper news credits and sources and stuff like that. But yeah, Russia's not happy. They're just like, yo, this is a violation of Venezuela's sovereignty. So it seems that the theme from COVID on, in terms of headlines, mainstream, what's on the global stage and center focus, is sovereignty. Like, it's still the continuation of one country going in somewhere else and being like, I want all this. And, or not even that. They just going in and saying, this is mine, right after the fact. It's wild. I don't know what to expect from this. I don't know how the rest of the world is going to react. Because when you think of it, first it was Ukraine, then it was Palestine, now it's here, right? So, like, there's that trend that we see, and it'll just be interesting to see how politically moving forward as a country, what happens with this here, what happens with now that the U.S. being in essentially North America, you could look at it, being in South America, what does that even look like? And how will that play out moving forward? I'd be interested to hear what y'all thoughts are. For the citizens of Venezuela, from what I'm seeing reaction-wise, leading up to this even, they were saying that that this dude was corrupt, but even people within the government, from what I understand, the Venezuelan government, they're saying bring him back. Y'all ain't got no business doing what you're doing. Um, but yeah, I'll link down what I'm reading from the BBC. I'll link it down below in the description by the time y'all are seeing this video here. Uh, yeah, thoughts and prayers, love out to the Venezuelans. Um, so yeah, one of the moving on. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was the gig economy. For those of you who are not familiar with the gig economy, the gig economy is a labor market for temporary, freelance, and on demand jobs where gig workers, are hired for short term gigs instead of permanent positions, often facilitated by digital platforms or apps that connect them with customers for services like ride sharing. So think like Uber, Lyft, taxi stuff basically, delivery, or freelance tasks. It offers flexibility for workers, but also raises questions about worker protections compared to traditional employment, with millions participating through platforms like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Upwork, and Fiverr. Those are websites and apps, for those of you not familiar, that basically are gig apps and allow people to sign up and make money by doing different tasks or gigs, like as described. Key characteristics: temporary and freelance. Work involves short term contracts, projects, or tasks rather than long term employment. Digital platforms, apps, and websites like Uber, Airbnb, Fiverr connect workers directly with consumers. On demand services, providing immediate services or goods, from driving and food delivery to tutoring and creative work. And worker independence. Workers often set their own hours and choose their projects, but lack traditional employee benefits and protections. Boy, don't I know. Man, examples of gig work, again, transportation, so like Uber, Lyft drivers, delivery work, DoorDash, Instacart, Amazon Flex, freelance services, writing, coding, graphic design on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr, home and pet services, renting out property, Airbnb, or pet sitting, Rover. Um, Growth and impact. The gig economy has grown significantly, partly due to increased digital connectivity and demand for flexible services accelerated by COVID. It provides economic benefits like efficiency and flexibility, but presents challenges regarding worker rights, fair pay, and benefits, prompting discussions about new worker classifications. Um, One thing here I wanted to read to y'all too was a Reddit discussion that was reporting a report, a Goldman Sachs report, of gig economy attracting more workers as these layoffs increase. A lot of these layoffs are being caused by AI, allegedly. Um, at the beginning of it, in my opinion, it just seemed like it was going to be a way for them to lay off people and then just blame it on AI and automation saving them money. But if you look at these companies almost a year later, none of them have been uh, more effective or more efficient or more productive. They haven't made more money in some cases with the usage of AI, uh, at least generative AI. And generative, unless there are things they're not telling us, um, as far as like the different AI models that the company uses and then the ones they give to the public, uh, as far as their own productivity and efficiency. But yeah, I mean, there's more layoffs, and it's just a reason for them to lay you off. And now that AI is also being marketed as uh, you can use this in any field in any industry. That means any field, any industry, any business can lay off and fire the workers. And if they wanted to, sorry, y'all. I live by an expressway where there's a police station, fire station. Um, yeah, if the businesses want to fire you, they can just fire you and say AI makes life better now, and they don't have to prove that it does. At least now, I'm sure there's probably a legal case to be had if you get fired and they say we did it because of AI and it made us more efficient, but they don't show any proof of that efficiency and productivity. Um, because just because you can automate a task doesn't mean like you still have to babysit AI to a degree. So it's not like you can just give important tasks and things like that to AI just yet, and it does it for you, and you don't have to worry about some mess that you're going to have to clean up with a human hands anyway. So, yeah, I want to talk about the gig economy, especially moving into 2026. Uh, my next topic was like, preparing and navigating 2026, but it is kind of off of the gig economy. Um, my advice would be to what a lot of marketers have suggested, a lot of business folks have suggested, diversify your income as best as you can. Um, when you look at what's happening, at least here in the States, with this current administration, you look at the tariffs. Um, like, yo, it's cheaper right now for me to print out and send these to myself, these hoodies, than to go buy a hoodie in the store, in most of the stores that I go to. Think about that for a second. It's cheaper for me to make my own shirts, hoodies, and things like that than it is for me to go to the store right now and buy shirts, underwear, socks, hoodies. That was wild to me. I went to the store the other day to go get a long sleeve. I needed some new long sleeves. It was $30 a pop, and there was no like long sleeves bundle pack like I was used to seeing. I come from the Kmart era, so like like there was no pack like that. And then even the undershirt joints, like those are like really thin material. It's not even, not all of them, but like some of them, the ones I was seeing, like for a decent price, um, they were just you could tell like they were just cheapo things, and they were gonna rip or shrink and warp when you put them in the washer and the dryer. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Um, then I went to go put an order in for new hoodies and things like that, and I saw that the price for the long sleeves was like you can get it for like 15-20 bucks uh, through the printmaker. And I was like, wait, so I can even have a custom joint, which usually is worth more than the base. Like, this is crazy. This is wild. Um, but yeah, diversify your income because the prices keep raising, and the price of your income is not going up. So you literally got to like do a bunch of different things. Diversifying your income streams because the price of what you're making is not raising. I think the hardest thing right now is figuring out what what do you have time for, what do you invest in that's going to be worth your time, and can you read when things are like changing and shifting. So, for instance, one thing I'll do a lot of the times is like when I take a Uber or a Lyft, I'll ask the drivers like, "Yo, how is it? How's driving recently? Like, how's your day going? How's the rides?" And some of them will let you know overall like what you getting paid and what they getting paid. Uh, and at one point, it was lucrative. I remember I met a Eastern European guy, young dude, who was like 20, young, like early 20 something, and I remember we was talking and he was driving me home, and I'd asked him like, "Yo, is this like good work for you?" And he was just like, "I work two jobs. I do this, do Uber, do Lyft, and then I do working at the docks. Like I drive to New York City from Pittsburgh to here, from here to New York City. He drives and he spends months out on the sea doing fishing with a crew on the ship. Does that for a time and then comes back here and then drives around. And he was able to just by just doing that was able to save up money for a house, um, two cars, car for his wife and for himself, just by doing that. So like it can be lucrative, but now you have more folks, especially with the layoffs, coming into the gig economy, and the platforms are charging you or are paying you less. So like one ride, and especially like depending on where you live at, that can be really, uh, really hurtful to your pocket. You think of like L.A., one destination to another might be longer, but they're like basically charging similar to the same amount for each ride, even if the distance is different. So if the distance is longer, you're still only getting $10 off of that ride. So there are folks here who might go from downtown to the airport, and you're only making $10 off of it. Like, it's getting crazy out there. So you got folks who work Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and all that to pay the bills. I would say, I mean, and I get that hustle. I would say, so you don't get bored and work yourself to death doing the same thing, maybe change up, if you can, what different types of jobs you can do. I'm only saying that because I don't want to like sell you on a dream of things will get better. I don't believe things will get better. I believe if anything, they'll get more chaotic, more unpredictable, more predictably unpredictable, in which you can predict and bet on, oh, this shit gonna get chaotic. Like, it's gonna get messy. Cause some of this stuff is just like, no one saw Venezuela on their bingo card. No one saw any of this stuff moving into 2026. None of it. Those in the know for sure, but none of us that are probably watching this, listening to this, are in the know. You know, we go to sleep, wake up, eat, sleep, rinse, wash, repeat. You know, you do that every day and go to work, do all that stuff. But yeah, I just want to talk about the gig economy more so for any of y'all giggers out there. That sounds horrible. Any of y'all gig economy people out there, gig workers. How's it going for y'all? What's your industry? What are you working in? What have you been doing to make ends meet? I know as a music artist, if I was just doing music, just doing those kind of gigs, like last 2 years, I've been able to, now going on 3 years this year, hopefully, haven't gotten an eviction notice or utilities being cut off. And, you know, alhamdulillah, all praise to the Most High on that one, man. Like, but every year before that, it was robbing Peter to pay Paul and doing man. And a lot of that is just based off of doing this multimedia work. It's not me I don't make beats for money. I make beats for passion. And doing that for like the different programs I work with. Hang on. Man. Another reason why we gotta get that studio, y'all. Gee whiz. But yeah, that's what I be doing to pay the bills because, you know, creative gigs people are trying to pay you less to do a lot of the creative stuff. And especially if you're in like marketing or anything like that, people are trying to pay you less now because of AI. And the other elephant in the room was, so a lot of these companies was on their way out before AI. AI is just enhancing that. The same way how the internet can enhance the fact that you don't have a business. There's a lot of people who will come to me. I shouldn't say a lot of people. There are some people who will come to me, locally and not locally. And they'll be like, yo, I need your services. And you schedule an appointment to talk with them. They have an idea, but they don't have a business. And you find that out usually in the conversation, leading up to it, or during the conversation, but nothing leading up to it. They might tell you like, yeah, I got this business, da 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 da. But in a lot of different cases, it's just a business idea. It's not a fully realized thing yet. They don't even know how they want to make money. But yeah, before I get off on the tangent with that, because I can feel myself with that. Diversify your income streams. Let me know which ones y'all are doing down in the comments below. But yeah, on that note, we're going to go to our commercial break. In a world full of copy and paste style, Fresh Air Flavor brings you something real. Welcome to the Fresh Air Flavor catalog, home of SoulMan IT, Pubnanigans, and home arcade classics. From cozy hoodies to classic tees and everyday coffee mugs, this gear is made for gamers, artists, and culture builders alike. No hype, just heart, heritage, and high-quality design. Visit freshairflavor.com/catalog and wear what you represent. All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank y'all for watching that. As you just saw, we have new merch now. We got hoodies that are in stock, coffee mugs, long sleeve shirts for the winter, the cold, and short sleeve shirts. And we'll have some more goodies and stuff as the year progresses, inshallah, Lord willing. So really looking forward to that. For our second half of the show, right now you're going to watch the Keep the Beat Going segment. This segment is on Sundays, for those of you who don't know. Sundays from 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to usually 5:30 to 6 p.m., give or take, depending on how the mood is. But at least 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I make beats, chopping up samples, making some beats, having some fun with the chat, sometimes taking some Q&A questions and things like that. But yeah, I wanted to take a segment, show y'all a segment of that, and hopefully I'll see y'all on the next live stream when we do that on Sunday. But until then, enjoy watching this. Did that one too? Hold up. Hold the phone now. You said that was not an ugly sample, clearly? Whatever do you mean? Yup. Here we go. All right, let's put this on some mixers. Yep. No. No. Oh, wow. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I didn't mean that, y'all. I did not mean it. Do not come for my life. Please don't. Let's see. I like this, yo. This is groovy. This is groovy, bro. We're calling this blip blip. Here we go. Let's listen to this. All right, y'all. There we go. That's it for that beep there. Blip, blip. All righty. That was our Keep the Beat Going segment. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed that. Just wanted to, have a place to be able to show not just my fully realized music projects, but just the process that goes into making it. I can't show you the whole process. That'd be great. But this is as close as I can get to it. For our next part, I had a question that I was gonna ask to my Pubnanigans homies. I have a channel on YouTube for just PUBG, a video game battle royale content, and on Thursdays and Saturdays, I do live streams with my community there. So I wanted to ask them, but not everybody showed up because it's still New Year's week. So I think people are still off and working and all of that. But I wanted to ask a life scenario question. I want to ask y'all as well. You can let me know down in the comments. In the age of neurochips and other biotechnology, would you ever cybernetically augment yourself? It was a question I wanted to ask because, we're in the age now of neurochips or like Neuralink, where you'll have a computer chip in your brain and it connects, I don't know, to a satellite or tower or something like that. There's a signal from there to here, and I don't know. I guess you get ESPN updates. I don't know what the actual benefit to that is, but there's more bubbling talking about it now. So for me, it's just let's just go all the way down the end of the road here for this conversation. Let's just get to it and ask what, if people are doing that, and I know that there's some benefits medically, like for those who are paraplegic and can't move, and now you can put a chip inside of you and use other robotic technology, and now a person can move at their will now in a way that they couldn't do before. So for me, okay, that's cool. I can't be mad. One of my favorite characters is Master Chief from Halo, right? And that dude is cybernetically modified like crazy. And there's a whole platoon of them super soldier folks. But it's a question that I think we can, just a conversation I think we could have. This might be the year. I mean, who knows what's going to happen next? That's got to be the next big thing. That's like a oh shit moment. Like AI, that was big when it dropped. Since then, it's kind of fizzled a bit because very much like we were promised flying cars, we were promised a whole bunch of stuff with automation and AI and all that from the jump. And I don't know, we're some time away from that, from what it looks like. But yeah, I wonder about these things. The next thing I think that would come out would be like a cyborg or it's either an android, like an actual walking robot that can think and talk, or as close as you can get to think, process and talk, or it's going to be a cyborg, like half robot, half person. So y'all let me know what you think. This is why I wanted co-hosts. I was going to ask my Pubnanigans people, and then they bailed on me. But yeah, moving towards the close of the show, in talking about these cybernetic things, I had some thoughts on Sora. For those of you who don't know, Sora is made by OpenAI. OpenAI is the people who made ChatGPT. And Sora 2 is a AI video generation app. So very much like you can go to ChatGPT and type in and ask it, yo, make me this, it'll make it, right? Sora is ChatGPT's video sibling. and you just type in what you want and it'll make the video for you. But it's not just that, it's also an app that's like, it's a social app with nothing but AI generated content. And I have a lot of questions with it. Like it's a there's a theory that people have, what's called the dead internet theory, right? And with the dead internet theory, it's at some point there's the belief that the majority of content you will see online at some point in the future will be nothing but robot AI generated content. It won't be human generated content. News reports, videos, audio. And when you think of something like this here, a thing that lets you create videos that it's getting good. You can't tell if it was human made or robot made. Um, and this app lets you donate your face to it. So not just you, but others can use your likeness in videos. Dog, we're about to enter the era of deepfakes. We're in deepfakes already. And a deepfake is when you make a video that's fake, but it's making it's making it look like someone said or did something that they did not do. So we're entering into a crazy space of not trusting anything. There's going to be a point in time in which even my face, my likeness, will be. I'll be having to fight against. I don't even know what that's going to be like, yo. But like having to like defend your likeness and things like that from not being used, and like them terms and conditions and privacy policies that companies be having to read in there. Yo, what are my AI rights? You got AI rights and don't even know you have AI rights, because now it's this new legislation and stuff that gets passed. But it's not like you getting a telegram in the mail that says, "Oh, these are your new rights." So it's getting wild. But I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. Because with all these different job layoffs and all this talk about AI this and AI that, this is another way in which it's being used and how they want to replace people. So yeah, to close out the show, we got our segment here, the mirror. Are you feeding you, or are you feeding the algorithm, the matrix? And what is the real matrix? um, are we in a simulation? Tinfoil hat moment. I don't believe we're in a simulation in the way like the Truman Show, but in a way I do. Like I don't think there's like this edge of like scenery in which you see like the sky has been painted or something like that, or that there's this like holographic dome that we live in. I don't think that that's what it is. If it is, okay, cool, surprise. But I don't go that far. I don't go that far with it. But with the Matrix, what I mean by that is right now you're plugged in. You're listening and watching me by using your computer, which is plugged into the Matrix. So we're plugged into the Matrix, and you're watching me in the Matrix right now. But when it comes to like when you're not watching me or watching others, but how are you feeding yourself? What are you watching? What are you listening to? How are you spending your time? What's your media diet like? Do you even have a media diet, or do you just watch and listen to whatever? It's just a reminder. This more so what this segment is, a reminder of what we're watching, to question what we're watching, not question it for the sake of I don't want to believe anything. I only believe not that, but questioning it because truth is important, authenticity is important, accuracy is important. You can use that and make a difference with that, make better decisions with that, be more discerning with that, make good change with that. So yeah, it's just a reminder. Just a reminder. We all need that. And with everything that's going on, especially at the start now, um, we just need to be mindful of the media that we're consuming. Chances are you've already consumed AI created media and just didn't know it yet. Um, so just be mindful of that as you're navigating these waters. And on that note, y'all, um, I'm gonna bid y'all a fair due. We are at the hour mark. This is crazy. I didn't I wasn't expecting um I didn't know how long this was gonna take. I blocked 2 hours to do this, and we did this in an hour. So that's pretty cool. Um if you made it this far into watching the podcast, I do appreciate you. I want to make this a weekly thing. I think I'll be able to do that. Having this camera here as well as this one here. I ordered a new camera, so the quality over here will improve likely this week. So hopefully by the next episode, you guys can let me know what you think of that there. Uh, Happy New Year's to y'all again. I'm looking forward to what this year has in store. I feel like this year is going to be one of those life changing years. It just kind of feels like I can't put my thumb on it. Um, but it's going to be very heavy on how you respond to things, especially the things you can't control. Uh, Maybe this is a message to future SoulMan, right? Out there, future all of us. But yeah, it's a new year. Let's try to hit the ground running. Good energy, good thoughts, good vibes. Hibernate a little. You don't got to pop out and be around everybody and stuff like that. Everybody's going to have their resolutions. You don't have to be around everybody's resolutions or be a part of theirs. Um, Self preservation is key, but also don't be so selfish that you forget community. Um, but yeah, there's a time and place. So hibernating if you need to, get your energy on, get your rest, eat well, live well, sleep well, get your rest, get your rest, get your rest. Um, but yeah, on that note, I will see y'all in the next one. I thank y'all for watching. It is your man, SoulMan IT. Lord willing, I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace.